at the forefront of politics.
Our enemy is Trump. He is the enemy. We got to unite. If we're not a united party, we lose to Trump.
On the front lines of activism.
There's certain fights, if we don't engage, they win. This is a fundamental question of who we are.
And delivering your daily dose of comedy.
Donald Trump, when he had his physical, they had his blood pressure, and mine is higher than his. Oh. And the irony is mine is higher because of him.
From the blue wave.
We flipped. Enough seats to take control of the House. We control the House.
To 2020 and beyond. This is the Dean Obeidallah Show on Sirius XM Progress, Channel 127.
And welcome to the show, brothers and sisters. Thursday, August 1st. We are live for the next 3 hours. I'm Dean Obeidallah. Hope to be your MBFF. I'm on Twitter at Dean Obeidallah. Drop me an email, dean@deanofradio.com, or go to my website, joe30303033. A bunch of threes, I'm not sure. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll find out in a second what Joe Biden closed his speech with last night. It's actually kind of funny. So we are obviously going to talk about the debate. We have a lot of time carved out. We don't have guests wall to wall tonight. I want to hear about, we'll play clips, what you thought about the debates, what issues were missing, what were you happy about, what were you unhappy about the debates, and where do we go from here as a party to win this election. But a couple of quick things I want to point out before I play any clips. The magic number, and this is a baby number, the big number, of course, is over 400, 186. What number is that? 186 days into February 3rd, 2020, the Iowa caucus. For the Democrats, that is the big day. We are literally 6 months and 2 days from the first contest. Iowa, and then New Hampshire's the week after, and then you get Nevada and South Carolina right away. But I'm not sure of how many were on stage last night. That will still be there by February 3rd, but that'll be a clearing out. I do want to give, before I play the clips here, because a lot of people talk about it on TV and they speculate, and it's fair speculation. With Joe Biden, with the poll lead he has now, is it insurmountable? And a lot of pollsters, and Steve Kornacki and others earlier in the spring said, whoever's leading once you get to the fall, if they have a big lead, it's probably unbeatable. And there's some truth to that. But I want to give you the numbers now and then compare it to 2008 before we play the clips. And I think this is important because if your candidate is not winning right now, what you're going to hear, what I'm going to explain to you and share with you, is actually going to, I think, make you feel pretty good. And so right now, the Real Clear Politics, which is a great website, RCP, has the average of the Democratic national polls. Right now, this is the average. And they put more weight, it seems, on the most recent polls. Joe Biden, like it or not, he is leading his next closest opponent by 16 points. That is a tremendous lead. 16-point lead he has on Bernie Sanders, who's next. Right behind him, right behind Bernie, is Liz Warren. So he's got a 17-point lead over Senator Warren. And then third, Kamala Harris. Bernie's got a 20-point lead. And you're like, wow, that's unbelievable. That's insurmountable. 16, 17-point lead. It could very well end up being that. We don't know. But I will tell you, let's look at the last time the Democrats had a competitive primary. It was 2008 election. At this time, August 2007, so the exact time is now in the 2008 cycle, but August 2007, what was going on? Hillary Clinton, 45%. To the next closest person, 25%. So a 20-point, literally, as today, at that time, August 1st, 2007, Hillary Clinton had a 20-point lead over Barack Obama. And over the next few months, her lead continued to go between 15 and 23 points through the fall. So she had a very hearty lead. She had a lead that seemed insurmountable to anyone. And let's look at the first contest, because that's extremely important, because that can change everything. Iowa. The Iowa caucus polls right now, and these are the averages, and there's not enough. There's only a few, but the average on RCP is Joe Biden at 24 points. Harris is next at 16, Warren at 15, Sanders at 14. So you're talking about an 8-point gap. Is that unbeatable? Well, I'm just giving this as potentially instructive. Let's look at August 2007, the exact same time in the 2008 race. Neck and neck, Hillary Clinton with John Edwards, neck and neck at 23 points. Barack Obama was at 17 points. That caucus, as opposed to this year in February, last time it was in January. It was January 3rd, right after the new year, January 3rd, 2008. What happened in that? And as a reminder again, August 2007, you have Hillary and Edwards neck and neck. Obama 6 points down at 17. By 6 months later, Iowa caucus, Barack Obama wins it at 30 points. John Edwards comes in second. Hillary came in third. Most people don't remember that. Hillary came in third in Iowa. Then she goes on to win New Hampshire the next week. So when you look at the national polls from 2008 election, Barack Obama did not lead the national polls, the average, until February of 2008. He already had won Iowa. He was still trailing. So my big point is anything can happen. Joe Biden could nurse this lead all the way to the convention and hang on and win it by 2 points, 15 points, who knows. Or if you like any other candidates there, keep in mind Hillary was up by literally, at this point, August 1st, 2007, literally up by 20 points, which is the bigger lead than right now than you've got Joe Biden over the next tier of candidates. So this is still wide open. That's my point. So I don't want people to be disappointed if your candidate is at 2 or 3 points in the polls. And I'm not going to go back to races from 1992. A lot of people look, Bill Clinton, he was like at 2 or 3 points. That's true. I think it's more comparable and more instructive looking at 2008 election. There's a lot of the same people around. A lot of the same voters in Iowa are still there. So that helps. So let's talk about what we saw last night. First, I got to play this. Colbert was live again after the debate. So he had some funny stuff. And I love they wrote it like the debate ends 10:30 and their writers are writing for an hour. That's all they have. And then they go on live. So here's the first one on, this is from Cory Booker's attack on Joe Biden. And there's a really funny line he used in the debate that was, people went nuts for. Here's clip number 1.
Biden tried to avoid answering questions about Obama's deportation policy, but Cory Booker wasn't having any of it.
Mr. Vice President, you can't have it both ways. You invoke President Obama more than anybody in this campaign. You can't do it when it's convenient and then dodge it when it's not.
Oh, really? Obama said I could. Mister, come after you, a whippersnapper. When the topic turned to criminal justice reform, Cory Booker sprang this on Joe Biden.
Mr. Vice President, there's a saying in my community, you're dipping into the Kool-Aid and you don't even know the flavor.
Okay, that's a nice rehearsed line, but really, does anyone ever know the flavor of Kool-Aid? It all just tastes like red.
And all I could think of is Michelangelo Signorelli and the Kool-Aid. Every night he signs off, don't drink the Kool-Aid. And there is Cory Booker. And I think he owes Michael at least a quarter for that one. And last thing, I want to play this clip here. And if you didn't watch the debates or didn't watch all of it, at the end, all the Democrats did their closing argument, their closing statement. And at the end, they cited their website. And for some reason, Joe Biden did not. He cited something else. And here's exactly what happened. Here's clip number 2.
In the end, the candidates came together around a unifying message. Click like and subscribe.
Please join me at michaelbennett.com.
I hope you will consider going to jansley.com,
KirstenGillibrand.com,
JulianCastro.com,
KamalaHarris.org.
Please go to CoryBooker.com.
Enter your zip code at yang2020.com.
That's so disappointing, you know? If you think we deserve more than shameless plugs from our presidential candidates, go to ColbertLateShow.com and join our movement now. For just $5, you could give me $5. But that's all it takes. But Biden did the same thing, but he couldn't quite stick the landing.com.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight.
Go to Joe 30330 and send an Evite to Scranton Joe at 1942 at AOL.org. Then ring up Pennsylvania. Ring up Pennsylvania 65000 and ask for Lulu. You show you a good time.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing like a child. I thought that was such a great joke. It's very funny. And by the way, Biden clarified it today. Everyone else giving their websites. He wanted you to text to, I think, Joe 3030. And Biden joked today, thank you, media, for putting the real number out there, because we're getting a lot of texts all day. So it was a funny moment. It wasn't a senior moment. They were clearly reading off teleprompters for their closing statement. He was reading. So it turned out to be a funny thing. And that's why I opened my thing. So the debate, I have to be honest, the debate last night, It made Bernie and Liz Warren look better. I have to be honest about that. I'm just saying objectively, it's not about, I like all the candidates and some more than others, but I'm being objective. That's my view. I want to hear your view on it. I think last night, and we can blame CNN for some part of it. Look, I mean, Jake Tapper's questions essentially are like, so Bernie Sanders, is he more of a Joseph Stalin type or Vladimir Lenin type? I mean, they were pitting them against each other on purpose. That's what they do. It's reality show TV on some level. That's true. The first night, so much was about healthcare. And I played some of the clips. And I think, even though it was a fractured discussion on healthcare, we all learned about it. And I thought the first night was very good on healthcare. Last night, and I won't play as many healthcare clips, I think it was horrible on healthcare. I know a lot of the issues. I keep reading the Kaiser Foundation and I read their plans. And it was so disjointed, back and forth. No, that's not it. That's it. No one knew what it was about. There was no explaining healthcare in human terms, like how it's going to help you and your family. And that's what you got to do. Forget the big numbers. These are aspirational plans. Explain to us how it's going to help you, your family, your loved ones, how it's going to help me, all of us. We want to know that. But what did become a bigger issue is criminal justice reform and their respective history for many of the candidates. In fact, in the first minute of the debates, there was an opening statement and protesters broke out to protest Bill de Blasio during his opening statement. It actually interrupted, they kind of missed the mark that they interrupted Cory Booker when they were going after Bill de Blasio. So at first people thought they were chanting or protest about Booker. It was not at all. It was about Bill de Blasio. And here's that. It's a quick thing. We'll play a little bit of that clip. Clip number 4, please.
That understands that these tired, old language,
So they're chanting fire Pantello, who is the NYPD police officer. He's the one that we all saw in the video who choked Eric Gardner, put him in a legal chokehold and killed the man in front of all of us. Man yelling, I can't breathe. That's the officer. And this happened 5 years ago with Eric Gardner. The man has not been charged with a crime because first the DA wouldn't charge him in Staten Island, and then Trump's DOJ just a few weeks ago would not charge him. But Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York, is on the stage and had not fired the guy. And he said, I didn't fire him because the DOJ said, don't do anything until we're done with our investigation. So the guy should have been fired. The guy should have been fired that next day. He should have been charged and prosecuted with the crime. We watched manslaughter. I wouldn't call it murder, even though viscerally you'd say it's murder what he did to Eric Gardner. And I get that. I'm just legally, it's manslaughter. And because he didn't have the requisite intent to kill him. Although you could get to murder too, you understand there's a chance, a serious chance of death, and you disregard that. There's a chance it could have been a murder, but at least manslaughter. And then not being charged is just off the charts. But then here comes Cory Booker versus Joe Biden, and then Kamala Harris and Tulsi Gabbard on criminal justice reform. And I'm happy they're discussing it, but it's so backwards looking, not forward looking. And that's part of the problem here. And they try to get to forward looking, but they don't. So first, here's Cory Booker going after Joe Biden's past on the crime bill. Here's clip number 5.
every major crime bill, major and minor, has had his name on it. And sir, those are your words, not mine. And this is one of those instances where the house was set on fire and you claimed responsibility for those laws. And you can't just now come out with a plan to put out that fire. We have got to have far more bold action on criminal justice reform, like having true marijuana justice, which means that we legalize it on a federal level and reinvest the profits in communities that have been disproportionately targeted by marijuana enforcement.
I think, by the way, Cory Booker, I thought he did a great job. You may disagree. I thought he did a great job. I might be slightly biased because I'm from Jersey and I've seen Cory for a long time there. And I don't know him. I've met him a bunch of times. We have mutual friends, but we're not friends. I think he did a fabulous job in the debate. And he did do the right thing here. He talked about Biden's past, but pivoted to the future and what we need to do in the future. That was good. But it became so much a relitigation of the past. And here was Biden going back at Booker and going back to when Cory Booker was mayor of Newark. And I understand this. This is a normal thing. You go back at the person with facts about them. But we're having a backwards discussion. Here's clip number 6.
In 2007, you became mayor. You had a police department you went out and you hired Rudy Giuliani's guy. You engaged in stop and frisk. You had 75% of those stops reviewed as illegal. You found yourself in a situation where 3 times as many African-American kids were caught in that chain and caught up. The Justice Department came after you for saying you were engaging in behavior that was inappropriate. And then, in fact, nothing happened the entire time you were mayor.
Thank you, Senator Booker. You want to respond? Well, first of all, I'm grateful that he endorsed my presidency already. But I'll tell you this: it's no secret that I inherited a police department with massive problems and decades-long challenges. But the head of the ACLU has already said, the head of the New Jersey ACLU, that I put forth national standard setting accountability.
And then Tulsi Gabbard, who probably had the stunning comment of the night, and that no one expected her to go after Senator Harris, and clearly Senator Harris did not expect that either. And here is clip number 7, Tulsi Gabbard going after Senator Harris on criminal justice.
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform.
So that's the spirit of so much of what happened last night on criminal justice reform. There was some forward-looking stuff, a lot of going backwards at each other's records on this. By the way, on the fact-checking of what Gabbard said, it's essentially true, but it's framed in a way that I would have to say is not misleading, just not a full story. Like when she said that when Senator Harris was the Attorney General, there were over 1,500 people sent to state prisons for marijuana-related offenses. That's true, but it wasn't that Kamala Harris prosecuted them. She was not the prosecutor in her county then. She was the state attorney general. Other county prosecutors prosecuted people all over the state. And so all the years she was attorney general, 1,500 went to jail. It wasn't her offices that did the prosecution. So you've got this, and this is all clear from the fact check online. You can see that. So did 1,500 people go to jail for marijuana-related offenses when Senator Harris was AG of California? Yes, that's true. Was she involved in those prosecutions? No, she was AG. Is there an argument that she could oversee the county prosecutors and tell them, don't do this prosecution? I guess you could have, but she did not prosecute them. It was not when she was actually prosecutor in the county where she's from, in the San Francisco area. And I think that's what kind of misled people. But look, that was a lot of that. We can, instead of me playing more clips now, in the next hour, we're going to have Congressman Pocan for a little bit, then we'll have more time for calls. So I want to take a break and come back and hear from you instead of playing more clips. And in the second hour, I'll play some more clips on healthcare in the most fractured, disjointed discussion on healthcare that was not helpful for us as a party. And, the other big takeaway was, Senator Harris didn't do as well as last time. Vice President Biden did better than last time. But I have to be honest, and I have to ask people out there, if Joe Biden is not the former vice president, he's just the guy running, say a governor, and he's on that stage, did he impress you? And I'm being objective. Did he impress you? Or did he just do better than last time when he didn't do well at all? And if he did impress you, fine. I'm not going to debate you. I'm just sincerely asking that question. If he's not the front runner by 16 points, if he's not the former vice president, and you just watched him on stage and say he was Steve Bullock instead of governor of Montana, or Jay Inslee, governor of Washington, and you just heard him explaining his views, would you go like, that's the person I want, I'm impressed by that person, or not? And if he's not, who was that person? Was there someone on stage that moved you? Did anyone get surprised and change your views on who you like? Or did you rule a few out over these last 2 days? So I want to hear that. You are my guest. 866-997-474. Let's take a break, come back, and it's all you right here on the Dean Obeidallah Show.
The Dean Obeidallah Show.
Whoever's the next president, we should call him the 45th president of the United States. And this will go down as a dark time in America that we'll never refer